Hey guys, Tarke here, and I want to make another one of my more self-reflective videos. I did one of these a couple of weeks back where I think it was like every times Tarke's been wrong or something. And I sort of look back at all the random things that I've said on the channel when I've kind of been into it, when I sort of haven't been into it. This was it, Tarke's self-review. And I'm always trying to improve the content on the channel. I'm going to be the first to admit my content isn't perfect, far from it. And my opinions aren't perfect, and there's always room to grow from like a channel point of view, and also like when it comes to giving criticism. I don't mean so much in a technical sense, because I'm someone who doesn't edit my YouTube videos. There can always be millions of improvements on that side of things. I mean more so in kind of like how I formulate my opinions and then how I give my opinions. And it's something that I've been trying to do for a while now, but I've actually, thanks to a kind of interesting-ish conversation I had with someone today in the YouTube comment section, it's kind of made me think completely differently about how I react to things. So I actually recorded a video, which you can see I deleted here, which was me responding to like my take on a lot of the main criticisms this channel gets. And I've kind of listed them on the side here about, you know, bias, objectivity, being a shill, being too critical of GGG while also being a shill, being too reactionary while always sitting on the fence, having an opinion, and then having opinions purely to be a hipster. Now, this is quite a lot to break through, and obviously if this sounds like something you're not interested in from the get-go, you're probably not into it, but it's just going to be a kind of, Tarke talks about his thoughts on the channel and changes he may or may not make to improve the content I put out going forward. Now, one thing which is really important to keep in mind, I've made 715 videos, and I've been doing this for 3 years now. So if you joined, you know, my content 2 years ago and you really liked the style of my content back then, but you're like, dude, he changed, like what happened at this point? My content kind of goes through cycles of like, what am I enjoying at the time? So currently I don't really enjoy making build videos that much, whereas if you actually look, I think I've only made like 2 videos, like 2 build specific videos this entire league. Whereas, you know, in other leagues, I only made build videos and nothing else. And you have many Path of Exile YouTubers who only make build videos. Whereas these days, most of my videos are based around, you know, obviously podcast stuff with Bayclast, random little tricks that I found, in terms of the phase run stuff or fossil farming. But mostly my content for the last few leagues has been very opinion heavy. So it's kind of been like, this is something I'd like to see change about the game, or this is my kind of take on where the game is at right now. Some people really enjoy that, some people really don't. And if you like join the channel purely for the build stuff and you're like, dude, I don't like all these like Tarke, you know, someone said backseat game dev stuff. If that's not something you enjoy, then maybe just don't watch it and then watch the stuff you do enjoy. As weird as that sounds to me to saying don't watch all of my content, there are quite a few channels that I'm subscribed to where I purposely only watch like a third of their content because I only enjoy a third of their content. The other stuff I'm not really that interested in. And not everything has to be for everyone. Now, that's not me saying that my stuff can't be improved, but just if you find yourself routinely like butting heads with half of my videos, then maybe just skip that half and just consume the stuff you enjoy on that sense. Sort of getting back to like my sort of like list here and what I think is kind of interesting. So in YouTube comments today, I had this chain going back and forth, and it was to do with the private leagues video that I did. And someone was annoyed. He said, Tarke, your cons list seems kind of forced, and you know, this is just bullshit. You're just trying to force it there because, you know, you're trying to get a job as a developer at GGG, and because of that you don't ever say anything negative, and this is just bullshit. You know, I'm sick of all these streamers and YouTubers who just think they're devs and, you know, they never have any opinions. And then it kind of went back and forth and whatever, and it was going on some shit. But then this guy who I've kind of been beefing with a little bit ever since the Diablo video, which a lot of people got upset by that, which is quite understandable. That was a fairly flawed video, and I'll explain why later. He said something at the end which I actually found really interesting. He said, it's fine if you have a bias, just understand that and just be like, hey, I'm biased. And that seems like really obvious, but it seems really obvious. Like sometimes, yeah, you just have a bias, just own it. Like, yo, I have a bias, it's just my opinion, it's just where I'm at. And that's kind of where I kind of actually really like that, and that might actually change how I make some content. The reason why I say that is, you know, every couple of leagues I try and mix it up. I try and see, okay, what's the one thing people are kind of like not enjoying about the content. And I used to have like some stuff, and people are like, oh, you know, you're so biased, how you never look at things from the other side of you. So I'm doing a lot of like, here's a video, and I'll be like, here's some pros I can see of the system, here's some cons of the system. I'm not saying I'm not going to do that anymore. But sometimes I might just start a video like, hey guys, you know what? This is very much for me, so I know I'm very much in the minority here, and this is very much a fringe opinion, but rather than trying to justify my opinion to you, I'm just gonna be like, yo, this is my opinion, that's kind of that. And that seems kind of interesting. So the reason why I mention it is, so with this Diablo video, right? So the Diablo, why am I interested? I actually retitled this video. The original title was Diablo, why I'm excited. The reason why I said this is a flawed video, even though I stand by everything I said in the video, is I was excited about making the video. I'd spent like 3 days talking about everything that basically I predicted it would happen. So when it got announced, I was like excited because I was like, oh, I called this. So like I was like on a boom. And I spent like the last 3 days talking about it on stream. So because of that, it's kind of like I'd put all of this energy out. It got announced. So I was like, oh, I'm like the one person who's actually really into this. Cool. Let me try and like explain it. And I didn't at any point acknowledge in the video, you know, the dumb shit about it. Because it was announced terribly. The way they've handled it has been terrible. Everything about it was terrible, even though I am actually interested in the final project. And I think that if the final project is good, it's something I would enjoy. And yeah, I have done this a few times in my past, actually. It tends to happen a lot around like hot topics. When it's a hot topic and I've had like a full like 8-hour stream just talking about it, I'll then make a video in a rush, upload it, and then in that video I'll fail to like summarize the stream, or sometimes I forget that not everyone watches all of the content. So there'll be a bunch of people who'll watch a video who don't have the context of like the 8-hour discussion which I had before it. So even though I stand by everything I said here, I presented it very fairly poorly. So, you know, my bad there. So that's what I'm talking about with the whole bias thing. Now with the objectivity thing, I think that trying to look at things from multiple points of view, as much as you can, is good. Because I think it can be a bit boring and borderline echo chambery if you just have one person saying the same thing over and over and over again. And then obviously everyone who watches them will be either people have the exact same opinion, so they'll be like, yes, this guy agrees with me, so I like him because he thinks the same thing I do. Or people who watch him just to then be like, you're wrong, you're an idiot in the comments. On that thing, this whole video came from someone disagreeing with my content, but presenting it in an articulate manner. So if you are like, you know what, Tarke, you know, I think you're a terrible YouTuber. Be like, I think you're a terrible YouTuber because you have too much of a bias, or because you don't wear enough yellow hats, or, you know, try and give some reasons to it. That tends to connect with people a lot more because, you know, no one's perfect. Everyone is flawed. Everyone knows what their shortcomings are. And if you know that, like, I need to work on this one thing, and then someone's like, hey, you really need to work on that one thing, it's going to connect with you a lot more than like, hey, if I ever meet you, you better watch out. That was actually a few comments I had over the Diablo video. You better hide, otherwise I'm going to take you out, hear me? Like, that just makes you laugh. It doesn't make you think, I wonder if I should change the way I present my ideas. Now, onto the whole, like, shill and criticism point. This is, obviously, it's not the same person saying it. The internet is multiple people, and it's quite easy as a streamer to like, I don't understand Reddit, because, you know, one day they're saying this, and one day they're saying something else, and you forget the internet is lots of different people with lots of different opinions. But yeah, so one of the big criticisms I've got in this league is that I'm both simultaneously a massive GGG shill who's just trying to get a job, or is already being paid secretly on the side, or I hate them and I hate everything and I just want to like tear them down because I live in a basement or something. I actually live on the first floor, so first floor memes only, please. On this sense, do I want a job as a game developer? I mean, if someone offered it to me, I definitely wouldn't say no, but not really. I make YouTube content because I enjoy making YouTube content. It's something that I just kind of, I get a sense of satisfaction from doing it. It gives me purpose. It gives me something to do. I have fun doing it. If there are any game companies out there who would like an actual shill, the one thing I really enjoy doing is like talking with other streamers, like talking with the community, then relaying that information back to companies, stuff like Bayclass. So yeah, if there are any game companies out there, you're like, hey, we want a better way to connect our ideas with the streamers and that back forth. That kind of like streamer outreach, community management stuff, sure, I will take a paycheck for that any day of the week. So yeah, that would be cool. But you know, when I make a video saying, hey guys, I feel like this is my opinion on Delve League, that's because I want to make a video talking about my opinion on Delve League. It's not like that's going to be part of my CV. Like, I'm not going to write out a CV and it's just like, I'm not going to use all my years of, you know, organizing Bayclass or everything. No, no, no. I'm just going to link them this one video URL and I'm going to get a job based on this. That's not how it works. Sometimes people have opinions just to have opinions. It can get quite frustrating sometimes having to constantly defend your opinions. People always think there's some weird secret agenda, like, oh, this streamer's clearly only says he likes this thing because he got paid to say it, or on the other sense, he only says he dislikes this thing because he's trying to assassinate the game company. Sometimes people just say things. To give you some context, I really like tea in my milk. I really like milk in my tea. I say that because that's how I enjoy my tea. That's not because I'm trying to get a sponsor by a dairy farm, although if there are any dairy farms out there, hit me up, maybe. Anyway, so on the too much criticism thing, I actually think I'm fairly fair these days. Because a lot of my content is me giving my opinions on things. Obviously, if you click on a video which is me saying, these are the flaws with this system, I'm going to be criticizing the system. That just comes with the territory. But I think I'm fairly fair. I also think that the reason why, for the people who think I'm much less critical these days, a big reason why I've been a lot less critical of GGG recently, to some extent, is I agree a lot more with GGG's design philosophy and the way they communicate their designs. So the time I've been like the angriest, or like I've been the most harsh on YouTube or whatever, was kind of during the Harvey legacy period, because I really didn't like the state of the game at the time. And that was when we were having like 6-month-long leagues, we had all the delays, and very poor communication between GGG and the community. And that was like really isolating as a content creator, because you're like, why, you know, what's the point of taking the time to offer suggestions, to do all these things, to try and make cool things? What's the point of even trying to make cool builds if the meta never changes? Everyone's just making the same build over and over again. You know, what's the point of making the time to organize, you know, a Bayclass or whatever, if, you know, you just pump all this energy and it seems like the company doesn't care, right? It wasn't they didn't care, it's just they weren't very good at communicating back then. Whereas now, you know, whenever they design anything, whenever GGG does anything now, they're like, hey guys, we're designing this new feature. This is what we're hoping to achieve with this new feature. We saw this with private leagues. They had their little, like, this is our philosophy behind the league. That simple, like, 2 lines is completely, like, changes the way that, like, I receive the information. Like, that's such a small thing, but it makes you connect so much more with the company. I mean, the reason why so many people are happy with GGG compared to someone like Blizzard is you feel like, yeah, GGG cares. So if it seems like I'm less critical of the game recently, it's probably just because I like the direction the game is going in. There's still things I would change, but I generally just kind of like how it goes. With the reactionary thing, the Diablo example is, yes, I can definitely sometimes be too reactionary. When you're a content creator, when you make YouTube videos, there's always that buzz in the back. You're like, oh, quick, gotta get the video out as quickly as possible. And the faster you rush out your video, generally the worse job you do. That's why I have so much respect for someone like Ziggy, because Ziggy's really good at actually like sitting, taking his time, taking all the notes, preparing everything, putting it out there. And that's what I would like to do. Not like, you know, kill Ziggy and wear his skin and become Ziggy Cat. That would be way too much travel. I don't know how embalming works, but to actually like have that methodology of, okay, I'm going to have the self-discipline. I'm very poorly disciplined, and that probably shows. It can be fun and it can be chaotic, but sometimes you need to be like, hey guys, let's just sit a bit and just kind of like process before we make the video. On the sitting on the fence thing, I think if you sit on the, if you think that I sit on the fence, then I think you just don't know my content, to be honest. I am very opinionated. I tend to, you know, go from both sides of whatever. For example, Best Row is one of my favorite leagues. The reason why Bestiary is one of my favorite leagues, it gave a alternative to the standard mapping at the time. I was very bored of the, you just pick this one map, just run this one map. The reason why I say it gave an alternative is if you played SSF, if you wanted to chase a particular craft, you had to chase down particular beasts. So it made you really set out and explore the Atlas. And funnily enough, they kind of achieved that through the Shaper Stronghold system. The Shaper Stronghold system is actually one of the best changes they've ever made to Atlas. And I feel like Atlas is currently in like the best state it's ever been. I love it. I hated the whole Sexton where it's like you're only locked into one thing. I like having varieties in my gameplay. It's also why I enjoy fossil farming in Delve. It gives me an option outside of just mapping. The more options, the better. But to bring it back to Sing on the Fence thing, so even though I loved Bestiary, I was incredibly critical of how it was implemented because I feel like Bestiary has, or had, the most potential of so many leagues. Like, I feel like Bestiary as a core idea and the amount of money and the amount of resources, I feel like it could have gotten so much more out of it, but because it was implemented so poorly and executed so poorly, this amazing idea, which I really loved, was basically wasted unless it somehow gets, you know, put back into the game later. So that's the thing, like, I can love something like Bestiary, but I can still criticize it. Just because I'm showing, like, both sides of the coin of something doesn't mean I'm sitting on the fence. It just means that I'm trying to be objective, but maybe it's okay to be slightly more biased. It's always about finding a balance. You don't want to watch a channel which only has one opinion, but sometimes, you know, hey, you know, I'm going to go to this channel because this channel only does this one thing, but it does it really well. On to the whole hipster thing. I'm definitely a hipster in the sense of I like to look a certain way. I've got my Harry Potter glasses. I've got my lesbian haircut. I look like an art student because I was an art student. I genuinely, as far as I'm aware, unless I'm doing this entirely subconsciously, completely honestly, I genuinely don't have opinions just to try and be different. Again, going back to the Diablo thing, I've been wanting a portable, solid ARPG for a really long time. My dream would be Path of Exile on Switch because I have a Switch. It recently just got announced on PlayStation, which is awesome. I have got a PlayStation, so that stuff feels good, man. But yeah, it's something that I want. This wasn't me saying, oh, I'm just going to do it to try and get views, because I would have gotten a lot more views if I just made a lol meme, take the piss out of Blizzard video. It would have gotten front page of Reddit. You know, I'm not like attacking anyone who does that, but it's generally a lot easier to get views on YouTube if that's what you want, by going with the trend, because people search for that stuff. In much the same sense, if I was having opinions purely to try and get like the biggest channel, I wouldn't make silly opinion videos, because no one searches for like, oh, Delve very blue equals oof eyes. Like, no one searches for that video. The people who see that are the people who either saw it when it got posted on Reddit or my viewers. But I do think that it is genuinely too blue. And I do have to wear glasses now. I'm not saying it's a coincidence that I had to start wearing glasses. The league, they made it obnoxiously fucking bright. But it could definitely be a link. Yeah, basically, my opinions are just opinions sometimes. You don't need to always find the conspiracy theory in there. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why it is that I tend to often be, like, on the flip side of what most people want. I don't know if it's just a case of because my channel is mostly me just giving my opinions on things, it seems like my different opinion is being put out more. I don't know if that's because my opinions genuinely are, like, often in the minority from the norm, or if it's just the fact of most people don't have YouTube channels giving their opinion on everything. So if you give your opinion on everything, then obviously more times than not, it's going to be different to someone else. Do you kind of get what I'm trying to say there? Basically, if I had a channel which only did builds and nothing else, then even if I had a really weird opinion about Bestiary, you would never know, because I only ever made build videos. You kind of get what I'm saying? I think it just kind of comes with the territory. And obviously the final thing that I really hear so much about on my channel is, damn, this streamer is too sexy. And I'm afraid to say that's only going to become more of a problem, so I'm not really sure what to do there. But I am genuinely interested. Has there ever been like one moment, like one league where you're like, oh, this was the pinnacle of Tarke content? Or honestly, like in valid criticism forms, can you be like, hey, Tarke, you know, there's one thing that I've actually noticed, and I feel like if you were to try and improve this one thing, maybe, you know, you'd end up with better content as a result. On that final thing, and just to finish up, I think I might try and make more of an effort to kind of like cultivate the like conversations that I find interesting. What I mean by that is, you know, if you're gonna just be like pointless, non-contributory comments, I'm gonna ignore that shit. I might even start like you know, getting rid of it, you know, not going like full like extreme moderation, but maybe just light moderation on Twitch and stuff, to try and just kind of, you know, get the kind of audience you go, oh yeah, I really want to go here. Because, you know, if you look at some of the streamers who have like really amazing audiences, and you're like, oh, why is their chat so great? It didn't happen by accident. You kind of need to like have videos like this, try and be like, hey guys, let's try and get this thing going. You know, I would like to be in a position where I can, you know, have discussion. I feel like discussion is something which is just kind of like, there aren't many good places to have discussion about PoE. You can't really have proper discussions on Reddit. The forums are dog trash. So having a cool place to have discussions about PoE, that's like the dream. But anyway, I'm Tarke. This video is like 3 times longer than I want it to be. Have a good day. Or don't have a good day. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Have a day. Bye-bye.